Nobody is an entertaining action film that fits right in with the John Wick style of movies. Derek Kolstad wrote the screenplay for this movie and has co-directed John Wick and was the writer for all 3 John Wick movies. David Leitch, not sure how you pronounce it, has been the producer for Nobody and the first John Wick. The action is slick and adrenaline surging, and it definitely helps that these movies have stuntmen and stunt coordinators at the helm and provide convincing and exciting action scenes. It also helps that they have compelling leading men in Keanu Reeves with his coolness and likability, and Bob Odenkirk with his comedy background stepping into a role like this. If you pick this movie apart like a killjoy, then yeah, it has some holes. With these high-octane action movies with middle-aged men, you have to suspend your disbelief. Other than age being a problem, it's the fact that they're killing machines that tip it over into masculine fantasy land. However, Nobody attempts to ground the action into the character's limitations at the beginning. As the movie progresses, the potential vulnerability begins to disappear. One could argue that this is just for protagonist, Hutch Manziel, getting back into his groove. The final action scene is just bonkers. I enjoyed the fact that Hutch takes the hits like a middle-aged man should initially. He looks highly skilled, but he's not as quick as his younger self would have been. Okay, I'll just be a killjoy for this segment. But it doesn't mean I disliked the film. I didn't necessarily like how his family disliked him and what it means. It seems like they don't value him. He has a steady job, and he has a regular routine of exercise, work, and forgetting to get the garbage out on time. The only person that respects and likes him is his young daughter. His wife and son don't. The key thing that's missing, though, is communication. He just doesn't have the same confidence as he should. If he were a more confident person, maybe he wouldn't be having these issues with his family. He is stuck in his own head, just living his mundane life, and he doesn't feel comfortable in his own skin at home. This movie is almost saying that he has to be a man to feel confident. This is true in part, but the intensity of his actions, which involve fighting and killing, is more like overcompensation. This is sort of a strange movie that lives in its own little world, or John Wick's world. It's a good movie, but it's superficial because it's complete fantasy. I would imagine that one would either have to be a psychopath.
Isn't that what you guys are saying? I'm a fucking psycho?
Or be completely screwed up if they did what Hutch Manziel did for a living. There is a reason why some people come back from war traumatized. Normal people don't typically want to harm other people, and if you do, then you would have to find some way to compartmentalize that. These violent and action-packed movies don't have much emotional weight to the violence other than maybe a reaction to the brutality of it. I remember laughing when something was just so brutal because it was a way to relieve the tension of being uncomfortable with what just happened. I'm talking about a part in John Wick 3 where John Wick throws the final axe in the noggin at a dying opponent. You don't feel much for the droves of goons that come at these reapers. Nobody makes this choice of a one-man army coming out of retirement for a frivolous reason. He justifies it because he's been victimized by a couple of burglars and let them go. Then he's compelled to exact revenge. He didn't care that they took a couple of bucks and an inexpensive watch, but he believes that they took one of his daughter's possessions, and instead of thinking to just buy a replacement or make a new one, he goes on the hunt for those that wronged him, and it leads him to one precarious situation after another. He is taken out of his routine of eating, sleeping, working, and exercising. It's similar to John Wick and the goons killing his dog that his wife left him, and he goes on a path of retribution. Odenkirk does a good job playing a mild-mannered dad who walks back into his old and dangerous life of being an assassin. He sold the bus fight scene very well, and it looked like a warm-up exercise because he would need more skill to handle the obstacles that were ahead. Never in a million years would I think Bob Odenkirk, the guy from Mr. Show,
What is up Satan's ass?
Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul, would lead an action movie. He delivers quips well with confidence and a do not screw with me or else I will end you attitude. His comedy chops probably help with that. As for the action, I thoroughly enjoyed the hand-to-hand combat more than the gunfighting scenes, or any time he kind of MacGyvered his way out of a situation. The action is the key to this film. If the action scenes were not well done and edited way too much. It doesn't look real. What I like about John Wick and Nobody is that the action is well choreographed and flows together superbly. Every hit is believable. The action escalates from a close quarters bus fight to more extreme situations involving guns. The finale is almost unbelievable, but I'm okay with it. It is balls to the wall nuts. The choice of music is distinctive and punchy. It's not just background noise, nor does it only evoke subtle emotional hits. The lyrics reflect what one could imagine is going on in Hutch's head. Please Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood by Nina Simone opens the movie. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. With this opening shot, yeah, it fits. There is one song called Life is a Bitch, and you can imagine what the lyrics say, which fits the situation that Hutch goes through after the home invasion, where he is on the prowl for those who wronged him, as well as Let It Be Me, which seems like it's running through Hutch's mind on the bus. These are not subtle choices, but they're fun. The movie leans on this soundtrack, and it allows the lyrics to make a statement. I think this movie is very well made as an action title, considering its budget of $16 million. I don't think it relies heavily on CGI. There is a part where Hutch uses a boiling water kettle to throw its contents at a bad guy. It would be easier to use room temperature water and CGI on the steam to make it look like it's from really hot water. Hollywood is full of trickery to sell people an image or an idea. Either hide the crappy stuff to have a presentable product or just do it really well. The latter sounds so much better, and it helps that this movie is run by a stunt person oriented approach. I also like how this movie did a fairly good job at filming the layout of the action scenes for the most part. I felt a little doubt because I couldn't believe that Hutch knew where to be at the right time. It demonstrated that his abilities were expert level. It was good that the action scenes escalated as the movie progressed, but it went from somewhat realistic and vulnerable to balls to the wall action. It sort of used Hollywood logic to protect the main character. Let's say this: I don't think your average car is bulletproof. This kind of took me out of a movie, but I accepted it. If the movies were realistic, then you wouldn't have many action movies. It is purely for entertainment. Movies or stories in general are broken up into 3 parts or acts. Because the movie was 90 minutes long, the structure was more apparent to me. It takes about 30 minutes to see the protagonist trapped in a hairy situation. Then it shows you at the hour mark how the protagonist is going to get out of a situation. The movie ends with the character coming to a resolution or answer to the conflict that it tried to resolve. It follows this formula almost to a T. Nobody excels with its action sequences, and Bob Odenkirk's convincing turn as a seemingly ordinary guy who is actually an adept killer. It's a little formulaic and a little nutty at times. The running time of 90 minutes suits it well because once it starts, it doesn't stop. You almost have nothing to lose by watching this efficient and well-executed movie.